Sci-Fi Facility here to talk to you about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd shit. So, it's a bonus episode this week, except for it's actually just a new episode that we're going to do every week for as long as Zombieland Saga continues to release new episodes. We're going to talk about them. Pfft, that's right, of course we are. Why wouldn't we? And what an episode to actually start off our episode reviews of Zombieland Saga. Episode 8, Go Go Neverland Saga. I am just like, wow. So, if you've never watched Zombieland Saga before, if you haven't watched the current episode of Zombieland Saga itself, go watch it. Like, just stuff. Zombieland Saga is a super lighthearted show. It's very funny. It's about zombie girls who want to become like the best idol group in all of Saga. And it's not as though the mission's any different this week. It's just the things that happen this week are totally different, and it got super emotional, y'all. Like, oh my, I cried. But, you know, I'm actually pretty easy to get to cry, so, you know, take that with all the grains of all the salt you can. So, yeah, moving on. You might actually be asking, if you watched this video and the video before, why I'm not wearing my Spider-Gwen hoodie. It's just, like, I know it's winter, but it's super hot in my office, so I just really didn't feel like sweating it out. That's just life. I'm sorry. But let's go on. So, like I said, if you haven't already watched that episode, go watch it. Come back. Let's talk about it. Because we're going to talk about the episode itself, so spoiler alert, and we're going to talk about the things that I'm super pleased about, and maybe even things I didn't like. But let's go into it. So the episode opens up on a shipping company? I don't know what these people do. But they're just ordering lunch, and like the biggest guy just like walks out. Boom. And they're like, oh, he doesn't stay for lunch because he hates TV. Like, okay, cool. Whatever, it's weird. He goes to a park to eat his lunch by himself, and he's watching a little girl play, and it's like, this is creepy. There's like some super creep vibes going on throughout that whole scene. A mother comes and she takes that kid, you know, away because she's obviously creeped out. There's a big, tall dude just watching her kid. It's weird. So kid goes, he like sighs, goes back to his lunch, and he's reading Saga Zine, which is a magazine in the Saga prefecture. Like, I love learning about Saga. Like, that's one of the things that really draws me to this anime. It's just like the little things you learn about Saga. I like that. So, and he gets to a article about Franshosho, the idol group that is made up of zombies. Nobody knows that they're zombies, so it's part of the gag. And he sees a picture, and he sees Lily, who is like the smallest of the zombies, and he's like, wait a minute, is that... Ugh. And so we cut to the idols getting prepared for not only a show, but a fan sign photo shoot sort of thing, and they have a good show, which I want to say I am super impressed every time that Tay gets on stage and doesn't eat anybody. Actually, there's a great like clip segment like before all this of like their various gigs after Saga Rock, because now they're super popular for having such a great show. And Tay tries to eat a mascot. Like, that's totally Tay. Totally Tay. And it's funny. But they get through their performance, and people are, you know, up getting into lines to do photos with them. Everybody except Jimko, who has signed pictures to hand out to people, or that the producer will hand out to people, because she still feels like idols shouldn't be close to people, but she's close to fans because they're supposed to be like a dream, a far-off dream, but she's at least, you know, performing with them and etc. Like, she's doing her part to get Franshosho into popularity status, and sticking by her ideals, which is good. It was like a big fight, a big plot point, and I'm glad it's resolved, more or less. So, immediately, the big guy from the park gets in Lily's line, And I think, here's what I think, because I always assume the worst, is that this is the person who killed Lily, because we don't know how most of these girls died. We know how Sakura died, we know how Junko died, and we know how Ai died. We don't really know about the other 4, but we know about Lily now. It's funny. But, I really thought that this was a person that killed her and recognized her and was ready to, like, I killed you, I'm back to finish the job. Sakura and Saki notice him immediately. They're just, like, watching. And so the line shrinks down, and it's just Lily, and this guy, and he's like, it's you. And he, like, puts his hand on her, which is super creepy. And we get, like, an awesome kick from Saki into this guy. Like, she kicks him, like, across the room. It's amazing. It's great comedy. What's also great is that their metal fans from the first show are still, like, rooting for them, and I really appreciate that. They're like, sure, they're not doing death metal anymore, but they certainly like the spunk these girls have, and they're there to support them to the end, and I appreciate that. One of them was like, I really wish that she would kick me like that, or something to that effect. It's hilarious. And so they basically take that guy to the back, and Lily is like, but wait, and like nobody's kind of listening to her. So they take him to the back, he's like, I didn't mean anything by it, I'm sorry, I just thought she looked like a child star named Lily that used to show up on TV a few years back, and so he definitely recognizes her, and he's like, I didn't mean to cause any trouble, I'll leave, like, Saki's just like scolding, like, you're not allowed to touch us, you're not, it's not cool, man, like, she's way better about it than I am, but I'm paraphrasing. And so Lily explains to the group, more or less, that that's her father. And so it's very sad, and her and Sakura have a big heart-to-heart in, like, a park not very far from where they live, in the middle of the night. And Lily explains, like, that's her dad, and the reason that she got on TV is because he loved TV, and she wanted to be the one to make him happy on TV, so he became her manager. But as time went on, she started to feel like he only saw her for her TV persona and not herself. Not not as his daughter, or his child, but as, like, the TV persona that she was, more or less. They get into a big fight because she is getting older, and that means hair is growing in places, and her father's like, you're not going to look like this forever, and she's like, I don't want to look like you, which is kind of, like, telling a little bit. Like, it's super telling. We'll get into that. Like, he uses a different name for her than Lily. I'm not going to say it. And then Lily's like, go away, blah, blah. You only care about when I'm on TV. You don't actually care about me, etc. And she's, like, looking in the mirror, inspecting herself. She's like, is that seaweed from this morning's breakfast? And it's a facial hair. And she immediately dies from shock. That's how she died. It's funny because, God, that's a mood. That's a suit. We've been there. We've all been there. But it also could have been the large amounts of stress that she was under, being a child star. They do show a scene where she is, like, got, like, super bags under her eyes. She's trying to talk to her dad about, going to the park together. He's like, oh, yeah, sure, but he's more interested in watching her on TV, or just kind of where the fight originated from, more or less. But Sakura's like, okay, you started talking about this other person in the middle of this. Who is that? And Lily's like, that's me. That's who I was. Like, and we go through a whole thing about Lily's old name, like, and it's super masculine name, and Saki actually makes fun of her for it, like, laughing, like, it's not a good look on Saki, but she's just making fun of the name in comparison to how small and shrimpy Lily actually is. They actually talked to the manager about it, and it's like, yeah, I knew, so what? Are they not allowed in your super girly group anymore? Is that it? And Lily's like, hey, that's not my name. I'm Lily. And he's like, yeah, she's Lily. We're Lily, and you can be whoever. You can be that person. You know, unless you're like, if you're not down with this. Like, so, A+ to the manager, who's normally kind of a dick, for standing up for Lily. They all basically go back to their room. Lily goes to sleep after explaining, like, it doesn't matter who I used to be. I'm a zombie, never going to grow old. My look is never going to change, and I'm okay with that. I'm Lily. I'm always going to be Lily. So that's who I am, and that's who I want to be. And so they're all watching her sleep because she's being like a cute, adorable sleeper. And Saki's like, yeah, who the fuck cares? Lily is Lily. And they all get over it super fast. Sakura's like, well, what about Lily's dad, you know? That's sad. And so they come up with a plan. And they talk with the producer, whose name I normally know, but I don't right now. And he okays it, and he comes up with the music for it. And Lily invites her dad to a show. Doesn't say who she is. Just like, you know, very cute doodle about, hey, we're putting on a show. You should come. You know, and he's basically like, there's a whole scene before this where they're doing another fan signing, and he comes up to purchase a shirt and apologize for his actions. He's like, I confused you for somebody else, obviously. You're not them, you know, that was my bad, but I want to get a shirt. And she almost lets slip that she knows him. She's like, I don't think we have your size. You usually get like a 5X. He's like, yeah, right. How? She's like, oh, you know, I do this a lot, so, you know, I got a good eye. And so he goes off, but that's why they invite him, because it's super sad that it was going to end without him having any kind of closure. And so Lily gets to sing a song to her dad because he shows up at the end of the show. And so she does this great song. I cried like all the way through it because it's just so touching and amazing, and I really loved it. And her father's crying big tears, and I'm crying big tears, and I watched this show to have fun. I'm not gonna cry, but I do. I watched this show to have fun, and they really just bored straight into my heart. So this was a great episode. That's how it ends. Next week is going to be a Saki episode. I only know this because the credits were Lily's song in its entirety, so that's why I watched through it. So it's going to be a Saki episode. I can't wait for that. So things I really loved. I already kind of mentioned some of them. I like that the producer, who's normally kind of a jackass, was totally on Lily's side. Like, yeah, this is Lily. This is Lily. If you have a problem with that, who the fuck cares? Fuck you. I like that Saki, like, yeah, she made fun of Lily for having such a masculine name that totally didn't fit her, but she totally corrected herself and was like, Lily is Lily, so all that doesn't matter anyway, she's one of us. And that's totally a gang leader thing to do, be like, I don't care about your past, all I care about is if you're one of us now. And Lily obviously is. I think this was great representation for the trans community, especially since anime tends to play trans people out like a joke, like a punchline. And so I'm not saying they always do that, they just didn't this time, and they handled it really nice. They actually didn't make the whole episode necessarily about it. They kind of like addressed it a little bit and then moved on to the performance for her dad, and I really appreciated it, the whole thing. I still like that Saki calls her Shrimpy. It's cute. It's an adorable nickname, and I enjoy it. So I just think they handled the subject matter really well and really maturely, especially considering how often anime drops the ball. And I've liked Lily the whole time. She's still not my favorite. I know maybe you were expecting me to just like jump on like that Lily bandwagon of her being my favorite. She's certainly one of my favorites, but my favorite is always going to be Tay and Saki because I just like how stupid Tay is, and I like delinquent girls. So yeah, next week's the Saki episode. So that's it for this video. It actually ran longer than the previous video because we had so much to talk about. The only thing I didn't really like about the episode was the making fun of Lily thing, but like I said, they played it off really good, so it's not actually a really big complaint. Maybe we're going to find out how Saki dies next week. So, what's coming up? What are we doing? Well, I did promise we'd get back into comics, and I tend to keep that promise, and we're going to talk about X-23. Ha! That's right, I can still talk about Laura because she still has a comment. It's not all new Wolverine. We're going to talk about X-23. So stay tuned for that. And until then, enjoy comics, enjoy cartoons, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!